Hi, this is Brian from Brew the Blend, and today we're going to make banana bread with coffee. We're going to start with my aunt's banana bread recipe that she hand wrote on a paper. Here's a picture of it. She sometimes added walnuts, but personally I prefer chocolate chips. My mom last week made banana bread with cranberries, and it turned out really well, actually. We're going to change things up a little bit because we're going to add coffee to this traditional recipe. This recipe calls for 1 cup of sugar, but because we're adding coffee, we're going to do a 1/2 cup of white sugar, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, because brown sugar really complements the coffee flavor really well. First thing we're going to do is we're going to combine the dry ingredients in a separate bowl and set it aside. We have our flour, salt, and baking soda. Just going to mix that up a little bit so that it's combined. All right, there you go. And now we're going to move on to the wet ingredients. I'm going to put in the butter, top it off with some sugar, get my brown sugar in there, break it up a little bit because it's a little packed. I'm going to put in the eggs. Oops. That happens sometimes. Just make sure you don't get any eggshells. Break that thing up a little bit. Then we're good to go. There we go. Now, put in some sour cream. Get my fork here. Don't want to miss any of it. Pour in some coffee. Don't forget the vanilla. And the bananas. So, just going to go zoop. Zoop. Now, when it comes to the bananas, you want them to be ripe, but not overly ripe. You can see how these have brown spots on them. That's probably as much as you want to do. If it gets darker than that, then the banana will get mushy. And even though it has a really strong banana flavor, it's not as good. So you definitely want to have it at the brown spot phase. Break that up a little bit. And then time to do some mixing. Okay, now I usually start on low because you get the bananas and even the butter is kind of chunky. By the way, you want your butter to be at room temperature because if it's cold, it's not gonna mix that well. You'll have clumps of butter and it's not evenly distributed. So what you really need to do is make sure your butter is soft. Sometimes it helps to mash up the bananas or at least break them up so that you don't have the whole thing in there. But all right, now that I've got it into chunks, I'm going to up the ante here a little bit. Just got to make sure everything is mixed in really well. See, I still see chunks of banana and butter. I'm going to just get this. Okay, it's coming together now. All right, now what you want to do is you want to add the flour mix a little bit at a time. If you dump the whole thing in, it's harder to mix, and what happens is the mixer kind of throws flour where you don't want it to be. And so I usually just do a little bit here, mix it up on low, so again it doesn't spit flour everywhere. And once the flour is incorporated, I'll put more flour in. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, again, some more flour. Bring it in. Now, before I added the flour mixture, it was really liquidy, but it's starting to thicken up nicely, which is what you want. You want it to be like a batter and not really thin. Okay, well, I'm just going to do the last part of the flour here, and we're going to be pretty well done. Now, there it's definitely thickening up, and in a minute I'm going to scrape the side with a spatula to get all that extra stuff that's not in. Okay, let me grab a spatula here quick. All right, so I'm just going to do this, scrape the sides, rub it off on the paddles. Okay, I'm just going to go for it here. Let's get this thing rolling. Okay, now, there we go. You got yourself a batter here. Now, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take a greased loaf pan. I usually use butter. It's been a long time since I've used actual grease, but butter works really well, and it really just prevents it from sticking to the side when it's done. I'm going to pour this thing in, do a little bit of scraping to get it all. There we go. And now I'm going to wait for the oven to heat up. Okay, now the oven is ready to go. We're going to put this in 350 degrees for about an hour. I'm going to set the timer. All right, and then let the oven do its thing. We'll be back to check on it. Okay, here we go. I had to leave it in for about 15-20 minutes more just to make sure that the top was done and not gooey. Let's just make sure here. Take our toothpick, put it in the middle, clean as a whistle. So, here we go. Look at that. Coffee flavored banana bread. It's good. Now, you got to be careful not to cut into it too soon because it's really hot in the middle. But don't wait too long because warm banana bread is a special treat and it tastes really good, even better than leftover banana bread. So, enjoy, brew the blend, your daily dose of delight.